Yes, adore you all of the time.
Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we are going to be focusing on brows and lashes. So I do tutorials on my Facebook page during the week, and the biggest thing that I always notice that people are asking is, how do you do lashes and how do you do your brows? Like, I'm starting off, I'm struggling, I need some tips. So I decided that I was going to go ahead and dedicate an actual YouTube video for this to show you guys some tips and tricks that have been helpful to me. Hopefully they'll be helpful to you, and just to give you like a few little guidelines and rule of thumbs that I've kind of come across over the last few years that I've been working on this brow and lash journey, if you will. Also, please make sure that you are subscribing, liking, and commenting, and let's go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to be using today is a pencil from the brand MYOB Cosmetics. It is their Precision Brow Pencil. I'm going to be using the shade Deep Brunette, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take the spoolie on the end of the brush, and I'm going to use this to start to brush my brow hairs in place. And I'm going to start grooming these brows and getting them laying in the direction that I want them to at least start laying. And for me, I start at the base of the brows and I do upward motions. And then I will just drag the spoolie along the edges, along the arch, just to start getting that arch shape that I like. I like my arch to be rounded instead of pointed. So once I have them groomed up, I'll take the edge and I will make sure that I have that curve that I like in my brows. So now that I have my brows laying in the direction I want them to lay in, I'm going to take my Makeup Forever Step 1 primer, and I'm going to use this to start laying the brow hairs down to make sure they stay in place. I like putting primer on my brows because I feel like it holds them in place well, and it helps to give a nice polished look. So if you have thicker brows or brows that you find that are a little bit unruly, try that trick. Put a little bit of primer on the brows, lay them in place, and I think you will find that it helps keep them, it helps keep the hold on them, and just kind of lets them pretty much like behave, and gives you a little bit more of a smoother application once you're actually starting to put the brow products on. When you are creating the shape for your brows, there are 3 main spots that you look for. So instead of trying to emulate what you might see someone else doing, this will actually help you in finding the best brow shape that's going to work for your particular facial structure. So very easy to figure these out, and I'm going to show you how to do those now. To begin with, what you want to do is take your pencil, start on the ball of your nose. Some people will start on the outer portion of their nose. For me, it would make my brows a little too wide, so I like to go in from the ball of the nose and start there. Now what you'll do is you will find the base of your brows, and this is going to be your starting point. Wherever that pencil hits at the very base of your brows, this is going to be point A. And what you can do is you can take your pencil, just drag it just a little bit, and that's point A. That's where you're going to start. Second step, start at that same point on the ball of your nose. Go ahead and tilt your pencil, and you'll notice that it's going to start running past the pupil of your eye. What you'll do is let that go until that pencil hits the base of your brow again. This should be about the highest point of your brow. This is going to be your arch. That's point B. Final step for the base. Same point of your nose. Tilt that pencil one more time. This time, let it go past the outer corner of your eye. That's going to be my ending point. And as you can see, my brow hairs stop a little bit before that. So we can use our pencil and we can fake it. Right, so now I have point A, point B, and C. So now we have the start of the base of our brow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start connecting the lines. And I'm going to do this in small little hair-like strokes. I'm not going to just drag it from point A to point B because that's going to make it look a little too harsh. So I'm literally going to take this, take my time, and just do little strokes until they start to connect. And I'm also, if you're noticing, I'm going to curve it just a little bit because I'm following the natural flow of this brow because mine curves just a little bit. So I'm just going to follow that. I'm just adding a little bit more structure to it. So now we have A and B connected. Now we're going to connect B with C. Same thing, small little strokes here. And we're getting it right to that point. So now all we have to do is create the top of our brows to close it up, and then we can start filling in. So we already know where our beginning and our middle points are. We already know where our beginning point is and our arch point is. So all we have to do is just copy that just right on top of it. The biggest thing that you have to determine now is how wide you want your brows. Do you want thicker brows? Do you want them to be a little bit thinner? That's completely up to you. What I like to do, my rule of thumb, is my brows are about the width of whatever pencil that I'm using. So if you notice, I'm going to do this right here. And that's actually about the natural width of my brows anyway, because you can see my brow hairs are just starting right where this brush is ending. So I'm going to take that beginning point and I'm going to go right above it. And I'm going to use another little marker. My arch was about right here, so I'm going to go right above it. And we already have our end point, so we don't have to worry about finding that again. So one more time, I'm just going to connect. Same thing, I'm not drawing just a single straight line. I'm taking my time and I'm doing little strokes. I'm going to go ahead and do this second side. I'll do this a little bit quicker so you can just see the whole process. I'm not going to be marking because I'm pretty familiar with the shaping of my brows, but just so you can see me creating this second side here, I'm going to just zoom this through a little bit quicker for you. Now I know you guys have all heard the expression, brows are sisters, not twins. It's said so much, it's used so often, but it's for a reason. So don't fret about making sure that they are completely identical. It's okay if they're a little off, you know, like one can be just a little bit, one can be a little bit thicker, one can be a little bit thinner. It's okay because there's always cleanup that you can do behind it. And I mean, they're not supposed, I mean, they don't have to be identical. It's okay. Just make sure that you're at least in the same family, okay? Just don't be second cousins and you'll be okay. Now, because this is a beginner tutorial, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in my brows using my pencil again. When you begin to get a little bit more comfortable with brows, there's different kind of products that you can use. You can use a pencil to fill in your brows. You can use pomade, you can use gels, you can use powders, but they are a little bit trickier to use, especially the gels and the pomades. So just for beginner purposes, I'm going to be using a pencil for it. When you are ready to begin trying different products, 3 products that I could recommend to you, at least gel and pomade wise. There's the Anastasia Dipbrow Pomade. the Benefit Cosmetics Ka-Brow Brow Gel. And a great drugstore alternative is this NYX Cosmetics Tame and Frame Tinted Pomade. But again, today I'm going to be using a pencil because we are doing this as a beginner tutorial. So what I like to do is when I'm starting on my brows to start filling them in, I will start actually from the arch, and then I will take it from the arch to the tail, and then I will start moving my way towards the front of the brow. So I will show you what I mean. When I'm filling in my brows, I'm not going in heavy-handed with this. Like, I'm not like literally like going in like if I have a crayon or a color pencil and like really carving, really trying to color these in. What I'm doing is I'm going to just take light strokes, mimicking brow hairs. And I'm going to take my time, just as in when we were creating the shape for our brows. And I'm just going to work my way from the tail. I'm going to work my way from the arch back to the tail. My preferred brow is a little bit more natural. So I do not try to catch like every single empty space that's in a brow. I'm okay if it has a little bit of gaps, as long as they're not like obvious, like really harsh gaps in there. I like to leave a little bit of space in my brows because I feel like it mimics a natural brow just a little bit more. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to continue doing those little hair-like strokes. And I'm working that towards the front of the brow. And again, I'm not heavy-handed with this. I am very, very lightly doing these brush strokes. Or these hair-like strokes, I apologize. Now, if you notice, towards the top of this, I did not completely fill in my brows, and like right at the very front, there's a little bit of space that's left. That is done intentionally. Now, when I was saying before that I don't like obvious gaps left in my brows, if I saw something like this, like back through here, I would definitely work to fill that in more. But here, I'm actually doing this deliberately. The reason why is because I'm going to take my spoolie and I'm going to start moving some of this product into those spaces without having to actually add more product there. And I do that because I don't want the very beginning of my brows to look too blocky. That's a little bit too just kind of unnatural looking for me. So I like to have a nice fade at the front and then just allow the product to start to darken as we go throughout the brows. So as you can see, now we have that space that's a little bit more filled in. And now I'm going to take my spoolie in the same direction that I laid those hairs initially. And I ran that product through. Just making sure that it is nicely distributed. And just giving me a nice natural finish.
Adore you all of the time.
Now while I'm doing this, if I do find that it's a little too sparse in the front, you can always go in, add a little bit of product in there. Just get it to your liking. But again, I just don't like to fill it all the way to the front because I just like that little fade that you get. For me, I feel like it's a little bit more natural looking this way. So you got your brows done. You've got the shape created, you know how to find your points, you know how to fill in different kind of products that you can use for it. One step that you can do to take it just a little bit further, just to give it a little bit more structure, is to do a cleanup of the brows. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that with you guys. This is something that you absolutely do not have to do. It just gives it a little bit more of a polished look. So I'm going to take a little bit of concealer. This is from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And this is our concealer in the shade 6.5. And I only have that product coated on one side of my brush. I don't want to put too much on there because you don't want to be too, you don't want to end up having too much product on there because then it's going to start getting really messy. So just apply a light amount of concealer on the brush and that will do the job. And again, just following that shape that you have created and you're just going right underneath it and you're just doing a cleanup. So I'm going to actually drag this down here and I'm going to cover up my entire eye. And I'm doing this because I'm going to be doing an eye look shortly. So be on the lookout for that. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So I'm going to be using this as my primer as well. So I'm just going to drag that down on my eyelid. And then I'm just going to use my finger to lightly blend that and smooth it out. I prefer using concealers as my primers. I feel like it's going to do the same kind of job that a primer is going to do for me. And it's also canceling out discoloration on my lids. So it's kind of like a two-in-one for me. So hopefully you'll be able to see that this side now has a little bit more structure, just a little bit more polished than this side. This side is perfectly fine. You can walk out the door feeling completely comfortable and confident with this. This just adds a little bit of extra pop to the look. All right, now one thing you should also do is, especially if you're going to be using a concealer on your brows to do cleanup or on your lids for primer, make sure that you go in with a little bit of translucent powder and set it. Anytime you put anything creamy on your eyes, you're going to want to set it just to help avoid creasing throughout the day. And also if you use eyeshadows later on to create some kind of eye look, it's going to help with the blending. Alrighty guys, so this is how I do my brows. I hope this was helpful to you. I'm going to go ahead and do my makeup now, and I will be back in just a second here, and I'm going to start showing you how to do your lashes. Be right back.